is everything in the fight of life. We never have as much time as we think we're going to have. Timing is everything in the fight of life. We have to get out and have diverse, basic experience. Do the things kittens and puppies do. Wrestle, play, learn timing. Not be separated from everything that helps us and constantly fed toxicity, which is the situation right now. And of course, in that toxic soup, you've got all kinds of opinionated expert geniuses on everything, and they're in the toxic soup. They're in the toxic soup. So for a naturalist like myself, who goes to nature to understand everything better, who adapts to higher functioning intelligences, who gets out of the toxic soup and gets perspective, you're just looking back and you're like, how do you talk to all these gassed up egotist experts and geniuses on everything, bro? Right? How do you do that? These people who have no relationship with animals, they have no relationship with nature. You know, these toxic conversation products, this toxic city products, that space shuttle image of a city mirrors microscopic cancer, right? How is it that we don't see these things even when they're being shown to you on this video right now? Even when pillars, the strongest women, and we're going to really talk about strong women, okay? Please like, follow, and subscribe. See the links below to other helpful resources and my TPUSA shade video that I've made before. Two strong women, Candace Owens for president, and Maddie from Anti-Alienation Project. I would love for my poor, alienated by a lowly witch, Jerry Springer, horrible person who lies to everyone she knows and acts like an expert in everything, to be able that brainwashed and lied to her own child every day to wreck the X and get the checks. Very common thing. And once you see psyops at that level, and you have a mother, see, I had a Freudian slip. We're going to go beyond psychology in every single one of these, right? So my mother was the most child abusive, horrible creature, even lied to me about who my father was, lied to my real father who acted as, about who our father was, lied to, never told the guy who's now passed away. We find out through his death, and at the same time, I'm collecting his body. She's helping my kid's mother kidnap my kid. Can you believe these two drug addicts? One's a pillhead, one's a meth head, right? Toxic soup and toxic substance, ladies and gentlemen. All these experts, opinionated experts that know this and believe this, that are not really seeking the truth, but they're just like weaponized and opinionated. You know what I mean? And they can't even consider the sources, lie to them over and over and over. The news, the people in the news, the mom, you know what I mean? They can't recognize, they don't know what time it is. They don't know what time it is. And if you can get out to nature, if you can get perspective, if you can get out of the toxic soup, recommend number one. How do you do that? Go rent a cabin in nature, ladies and gentlemen. It is so worth the investment. You're not losing, I promise. You're going to come back and win times 10. You're going to find out there, especially if you can get enough toxicity out of yourself to realize there are higher intelligences at play. There is a great spirit that has protected you. There's no way you've lived this long without it. Trust me. You know what I mean? There's a perfect oxygen balance. No matter how many bags of trash we throw on the side of the road or oil spills into the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Boom! Okay. Good girl, good girl. Let's say hello to the star of the show here. Right, huh? Huh? Oh, baby Blue, the coolest dog in the world. And, we're supposed to have relationships with animals. We're supposed to be out in nature. This is my number one recommend. Oh, yeah, you're supposed to be up moving around all the time. That's why we prescribe these highly intelligent cyclic things like the toilet tax, where you don't go through that front door without doing 2 to 30-minute routine, raising your vibration, keeping a higher raised vibration, and what do you know? Vibration actually has momentum if given the right acoustics, right? Do you notice that? Can you pay attention to the real things and take away the fake things? We know we've been lied to. We know, okay, right? So now let's talk about the strong women. Both of these women are excellent mothers, and they're excellent wives who devote themselves to their husbands. And so they're some of the strongest pillars, and they're helping us identify some of the most courageous people. They've got children, and they're really breaking down some of the most violent, shady, evil schemes of our time, right? And we wonder how these crazy, grand, evil schemes go on at the top, and how did this happen? And we wonder how they happen so insanely down below, And we wonder how they sneak in these family courts with no jury, no lawyer provided, total racketeering. Industry terms are weep 'em and reap 'em. Every case gets more conflict. Every case gets more warped. Kids are getting abused psychologically by the one parent they're supposed to be able to trust because they've got this carrot out there to rector. I'm kind of glad, actually, because it exposed all these witches. Now, if we can go after them, as Johnny Depp did with Amber Heard, he could have just taken it. What do? What can you really throw down these claims that women make? Not in my case. I have had every bullshit guy stuck to me because I made one little tiny mistake and I took responsibility for that. And so I guess all these people believe all these extreme exaggerations because I'm actually someone who takes responsibility for their mistakes. Don't make them again, and I'd never made them before. Actually, this incredible narcissistic evil women, which is most people, Fresh and Fit podcast, young people, young women. Oh man, you guys are so screwed, and you're never gonna be happy. The results are not in on this. They're in on a few people. You know what I mean? And look at them. You want to talk about weaponized and toxic? Some of the older single women are the most weaponized, toxic, dirty. But there's a lot of married women too. They just use their men, and they really don't care about anyone. And they really rob themselves more than they rob everybody else, but they do rob everybody else. And now you're seeing, as we find out, how these courts get snuck in, how these family divisions, why we're seeing all these fatherless kids. It's coming from the top down, and all these people are shady. Both the left and the right is controlled. Now we're going to rebel. No, we're going to go. You're not going to reform this. You're going to have to replace this. You're going to have to simply step outside the toxic soup into nature. Nutritionaldiversity.com. Eat the natural diet. Think clear. Get a water filter. Go to nature. Get clean water from the purification zone. I come to you this morning from beautiful Panama, where I'm on the spear tip of this agriculture, alternative agriculture, which is really actually pay attention to nature. Do what nature's showing you to do. You can enhance it. Optimize what's been given to you. Work hard with what's been given to you. Be a learner, not think you know everything, not think that you're some grown ass. You're not. Okay, as soon as you are, you're done grown. I guess you made it. I guess there's nothing more for you to learn. I guess you're just our teacher now. This fool shit doesn't actually, you know what I mean? Like, who's been trained to just say things that are so far from reality. And it's so dangerous. If you took that convenience, brainwashing, toxic modality that you have right now, you take it into the jungle, you are going to learn so fast. Women in the jungle, you have to do what Candace Owens doing. You have to do what Maddie's doing. You have to be real. You have to be honest. Honesty really truly is the best policy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, honesty really truly is the best policy. And so many people, if you lack it, if you can commit to honesty and you can keep that commitment, that will be the strongest commitment that you could possibly do, and no one else can do it. Would I say burpees and early morning wake up and every other kind of discipline thing that you could possibly think of, it will be a part of that? I really truly do. I think that it's a brick by brick process to have that kind of strength, to have that kind of stamina, to be able to pull that kind of weight. And I think that people, once they get to a certain momentum point where they're super rolling and they're having this positive effect everywhere, they're not going to give it up. But we've been so successfully, impressively kept from that point. It's crazy. And then there's a small group of us that are at that point, and we're hollering back and we're trying to do this. And unfortunately, there's a few people over here with narcissistic personality disorder like crazy, and they pretend to be us, and then they jack you, and then you can't trust us. But once again, brick by brick, morning study sessions, like, subscribe, and share. Mental toughness, ladies and gentlemen. Study of great minds for greater cognition. Adaptation to the grand teacher, nature. That's the highest working, longest lasting technology, whatever mouse sound you want to give it, life, living, ecosystem, economy, okay, that's ever existed. So you adapt to that and you can understand everything better. You can raise your cognition extremely. If you can get into the gym and fight with yourself and win that war inside of your head and be like, no, I wrote this all down on the paper. It's getting done. I said I was going to do 35 sets, or let's just say I learned that 35 sets, because I'm a seeker, not a believer or a concluder. I'm still learning, and that's exponential right there. That is exponential right there, what I just gave you, right? So now I'm really learning much more than all these other suckers, okay, they are really just wanting to mouth sound themselves into position with no merit or reason. But that's what we see. But that's what they see. And it's an excellent opportunity to do exactly what I'm telling you now, to be in the gym, to be one of the rare ones, to be one of the real ones, and to be even so real that you can look past these fake establishments and false constructs, which are many times link below, Kia Carlberg, I'll put all these links below where you can unpack this more, is a narcissistic construct. And you can't deny that anymore. That we are seeing that in loud and clear. These people are toxic. We're not going to reform this. We're only going to replace this. And we're going to simply, and the smartest of us, just straight up, all right, here's really what the mental tough person is going to come up with. The only way around this, and voila, 2026, we're at this technological point where this is a great frontier and you can actually do it with the prosumer technology. Let's just say you can build your own power generation house way out here in the purification zone jungle, have your own cows. You're not baller until you have your own agriculture, who will, you know, have a plan B, move around up there in the States like you have a plan B. Part of the deal, you got to be able to walk away. I got a paradise, power generation, power and food, all types of power generation center down here in Central and South America, 4 different countries, 4 different sites. You wouldn't believe how little you need to liquidate in the north to get so much out here, because we've already been got with the inflation. We've already been, right, you know what I mean? So there's avenues here. You need to expand your range. You have to expand your bandwidth. You have to use all the potential options, at least in your mental math, so that you really are moving the right network of gears here. In Bill Mollison's Permaculture Design Manual, he points out in his observation of nature that every decision, action, and installment should apply to 2 or more purposes, 2 or more missions, 2 or more functions within this greater organ, within this greater body, that responds on greater amounts of level than you and I think in the mainstream right now. And we've been cut off from this metaphysical level. We've been cut off from things that Rudolf Steiner has described in his 1920 biodynamic agriculture work, and has been applied by thousands of people since then. For generational farms. We were poor and struggling, crying. Now we're rich and abundant. It's simply the form in which we live. There's a permaculture study that says, oh, hey, listen, hey, control freaks, we can actually sustain 50 times the population on this planet, but we have to do it in a sustainable format. Look at nature to understand everything better, right? Adapt to nature, adaptability being the strongest measure of intelligence. So if you could pay attention to nature to understand everything better, logically, if you adapt to nature for a certain period of time, you can really understand everything better. Boom, what I just give you, the strongest move in the psycho game, the vision quest. It's mandatory if you want to run personally with me up here on the spirit tip of alternative agriculture, which, like I said, is really just enhancement of the ecology, enhancement of nature. Click the link below for the nutritional diversity ecological enhancement program that we've been working on diligently for the last 15 years, trying to scream about probably in the wrong ways, in the wrong formats, and not a professional enough, not a cohesive enough. But for us out here in nature, we know you have to have an edge to you. You have to have an edge to you. Everything in nature has an edge to it. We're all friendly and copacetic, and we work together, and we enhance our environment, and we don't trash it up and ruin it. However, you better be, everyone on my farm, you could just go ahead and say culturally, because we're in that synchronization with nature. Culturally, all these guys, I'm trying to get most of my top guys, if you're going to be a top guy, you're in jiu-jitsu, you're in boxing, and you're in the weight room, and you're running all the time, and you're out here swinging the shovel and the machete all day with the nutritional diversity diet running through your veins correctly, and it's the form. So you find that right format and forget peptides and steroids and injectable health. The Chinese make it all anyways. They already polluted our fentanyl street drug supply. You don't think everybody's raked over by this other legal screw people over with chemical substances. So we're done with chemical substances. We're done with the chemical substance of the tell you a vision that we've considered the source, that this is horrible programming. It's having horrible results. We're even looking at health professionals, thankful for the advancements that they have made. Thankful for emergency medicine when we break our arm and all that. Thankful for MRIs so that they can find things early that we may not have found. You may not have needed to either. It might just be as simple as what I'm saying. Step out of the toxicity, step into the health, cognate yourself correctly, make all those cellular, molecular changes within you. You're 85% water. Pay attention to Dr. Masaru Emoto's microscopic water discovery and pictures that you can look up right on the internet of 2008. That's Dr. Masaru Emoto. And our kids farming videos, there's a whole explanation of this, also including the Cleve Bastard text showing the neural network out here about 8 years ago. Paul Stammen comes out with the mycelium running, showing the interconnectivity of every. So, listen, guys, we need to be interconnected with that working mechanism as much as possible going forward. So pick a spot in nature, start making a compost, start bringing some house plants in, some herbs, some different natural processes to purify your cognitive zone, which in turn affects every single piece of your body at the molecular level. And if you're giving it the super nutrition that you need to give it, this is all holistic. Mental health can easily, it's a big picture. It's definitely not talking to a psychiatrist, you know? It's better working with a powwow group, link below, of dudes who have actually been through hell, who actually care, who actually have that empathetic relationship where they know what real pain is, right? And they have diverse experience and diverse wisdom, and they've been through something, and they can contribute that. Not that they've been educated in some sterile classroom to be so egotistical and they just screw up everything. Look at monoculture. Look at the food supply, right? So you need real merit, not mouth sound, not sterile classroom. Hands-on, get into it, no fear. What's the biggest programming element of the agenda that wants to keep you from being your best angelic destiny, excellent self? Fear. Principally, fear that you can't do it. Principally, fear not believing in yourself, a lack of belief. So we're gonna believe, and here's the other thing: you're gonna recognize that you're in a hater, toxic culture, and all these crabs in the barrel that have been programmed successfully to be that. They don't want to see you get out, and what will they try to do? They will try to crab on you. And if I'm a slave ruler, like the ones we're just finding out about now, what do I want? What syndrome does everybody have down here in the slave ranks? Crab in the barrel syndrome. How are we going to do it? We're going to control the movies. We're going to control the music. We're going to control the tell you a vision. Do you see? We're going to control the news. We're going to control the narrative. It's all built bullshit. I went to war, honorably served, in uniform for bullshit. You know what I mean? I see my daughter programmed, screaming at me bullshit, saying she knows it's true. A young person. You know what I mean? I'm watching a 75-year-old lady who's done nothing but get fat, watch Netflix, and scam the government and have her kid locked up for 8 years to get checks off his head and not have to do her job. From 10 years old, there's no bad 10 years old. There's only bad parents of 10-year-old. Took my dad to the cleaners, same thing. Wrecked the ex to get the checks right, you know what I mean? After I saw all that. And then I see this 75-year-old witch lies to her grandchild about her son today. It's fucking phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The dirtbag. She's cheated on every single husband she's had. She lied to me about who my real father was. She's and listen, you know what? Thank you. Not only do I forgive her, but I thank her, because with those kinds of challenges, it's crazy. Like, look at me, I'm all good looking, I'm in super shape. I help a whole tons of people. I got the spirit tipping agriculture. I do have a lot of hoes that hang out with me also. That just seems to happen all the time. Is it kind of like I'm kind of like Jesus, I'm fit? No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't compare myself to that. And which brings us to the most powerful hand in the psychological holistic game. Seriously. And I mean, I am the enemy of mouth sounds. I'm like, listen, speak the language of actions to me, please. I will see what you do. Trust me. I'm an old schooler. I know I will run so much game all over you. Don't even start talking to me, right? And I don't want to. I don't agree with that level of play, right? However, what you don't train becomes your weakness. And this is a dynamic world, and we should be as trained and well-rounded as possible. That's why I really highly recommend that you subscribe to this channel. Now, and you get the key nutritional elements below. We're putting together everything because I actually truly really want to help people. That's all I want to do. All my coaching is volunteer. I don't need nothing from you. I just want to do this to get my wings in stage 2. That's literally what it is. And my deep exploration of nature, all I see out there is spirit. I also see what Chris Langland, the man with the 200 IQ, and I'll put a link to that below as well, describes in his TOE theory of everything. It's and also he breaks it down with this Makes this whole new world of telenesis, this whole new world. Man, I see that. I see what he's talking about. He's right. And so basically what he's saying there is we need to change that molecular water structure pattern in us. That's just a symptom. That's just something you can see. But we need to change that inner metaphysical part of us, our soul. We need to cognate it well. We need to clean it of all kinds of interest and stupidity and just go for higher intellect and discipline, right? And we need to work and put in the actions along to do that. And that will make the most psychologically strong individual. Another thing, back to these strong women that I think will make you, it really worked for me, is when you see a deception, you don't stand by. You call it out. You galvanize yourself in this polar positive place by not tolerating evil, by doing something so that evil is unable to triumph. The only thing that it needs to triumph is for you to do nothing, right? If you decide to be good, that's all that matters, right? Anything else you decide really doesn't matter. If you decide to commit to goodness, otherwise you don't pass the test. If you're going to get to your journey or your destiny, it's the journey is the destination. But if you're going to achieve your destiny, it is by taking on everything that's in front of you, not the shit that they pump to you through a wire that you have no levers to pull in. If you're not helping it, you need to be somewhere else. You need to be focused on something you can actually help. And then and to actually help it, you have to get to the truth. You have to be working with the real substances. You can't be misidentifying something and then putting it into the recipe. You're not going to get the result that you wanted. You've got a bad ingredient. The gun's not going to fire. It's got a bad part. You've got to get everything in check. You've got to get out of the toxic soup. I started in this video a city from a space shuttle, mirrors cancer microscopically. Out to the city at least 1 month a year. Try to get the nutritional diversity diet as best you can. Get a water diversity. Get the best, cleanest water that you possibly can. Put your water diversity together in a filter and carbonate and run it 3 times. You know what I mean? This is so important. It's so important. There's literally 52 pharmaceutical chemicals in the United States water supply consistently across all cities, and that's the EPA that said that back in 2001. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is evermore, and I'm down here from Central and South America all the time. I'm talking to people on the phone in the States, and I'm just like, it's got to be the water. It's got to be the water. Like, you couldn't be this blind, you know, but hey, whatever. And I'm not talking about stuff on the news. I'm talking about interpersonal stuff. Mentally tough people like Candace Owens and Maddie. That's why I'm saying check that TPUSA Shade video too, because these two jumped. Do you see that? They're galvanizing truth. They're dedicated mothers. They know psyops extremely well. I don't know how Candace Owens is just like me. She's got truth stamped on her bones for some reason. You know what I mean? And you're never going to like everybody all the way. But one thing, and that being said, another highly controversial name in mental toughness is Jordan Peterson. But what he was saying this morning in his new video is that if you are smart, if you are strong, as you progress, and that's why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this video. Once you progress and you get strong and you start to get really ahead of people, you start, and you're a good person, you start to feel morally obligated to look back and at least try to pull up a couple people, or at least throw a couple breadcrumbs down, you know? In my case, I would have never come on this internet at all. I was proud of being invisible on the internet, except for the extreme brainwashing of this one young person, and the results are written all over her, just like 50 Cent's oldest son, who's all over YouTube, who I don't get how his mother's not being prosecuted for extreme psychological abuse daily. The one person that kid should have been able to trust, because that's the only way you get those results. And you got thousands and thousands of people screaming all kinds of stuff. CPS is taking my kids. They're putting them in an abusive situation, and now we're finding out, they like this. They like this tornado of sickness and abuse because they're satanic. All right, so which brings me to the most powerful name in the game, I have heard mouth sounds about everything before, and they really don't do much. They do a little bit. They begin to describe. They help quite a bit, really, truly, right? However, man, I've used this sound once or twice, and holy moly, 4 or 5 or 10 times, man, does that change everything? You know, like angelic chess pieces start moving around, and just amazing shifts in reality take place that you're just like, what? Some punks will probably go on in life continuously denying those kinds of experiences or lacking respect for them. You know what I mean? No, I gotta tell you, man, I'm so lucky and so blessed. I know there's a lot of people that have had the kind of experiences that I have, but I know that there's also most people have not. So I truly feel blessed, and I want more. And we just lost our good friend Aaron Roberts to this witchcraft shit, this contact denial of his child. I run a burpee group. Myself and AK and ET, we run a burpee group together every morning. A mastermind burpee group. You could do what you want. You come in, we talk, we do some exercise, we check in, we be accountable to each other on an early morning wake up in a discipline program and study of the greats. We get off, and over time, that kind of blade sharpening can really build up a person. I don't know if you're noticing not or not. Yes, I could be a little bit cocky sometimes, but I can't stand a narcissist. I galvanize myself again. All right. Dear Lord, we love you. We thank you. We're always thinking of you. This is your logical, loyal Trump. We have not been called. Let's be clear. We both know. I have not been called. I am not a messenger. I'm nobody. I'm just a fellow journeyman. And with my fellow journeymen who appreciate this and like this direction and like this mental toughness training and building, and polarizing against evils and into the goodness, which is the great force. We know that, and we love it, and we're always thinking of it, and we will say the rest of this with our actions throughout this day. We love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful life. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. And I know he knows our hearts, and our words are less of the picture. He knows our hearts, our dedication, and our language of action. That's how you speak with respect. The first thing that nature teaches you, and Stephen Herbert Barner is the one who phrased this for me. Stefan Herbert Barner, is the first thing that nature teaches you is politeness. And that's really so true. You can't be stumbling around being a dummy out here. Out in deep nature, you find a copacetic synchronization that is very much more highly operable. I mean, for a lot of people that I really don't respect, they don't exist on the internet, and they're just, why would I cognate myself with those monkeys, with those barbarians, with those whatever? You know what I mean? When I can be out here and, pay attention to nature and understand, consistently learn and have these meaningful, genuine relationships with other people, and even put gates to not allow this type of toxicity in. And I'm hoping to really have a pure channel that's just like, whoa, man, you just cut some toxicity off. Hua, my man, my woman, right on. Nice to have you here. Yeah, I've been showing up with no results for like 15 videos. And I don't need results outside to continue to show up. I know that I'm at that point in my personal development journey where I did 4 years of 2:30 a.m. wake ups and then started my day at 7:30, where I did 5 hours of personal development, study of the greats every day, and then study of the nature all day. No bank account, no phone for 7 years, right? And then my cognition changed. Actually, I had a PTSD happen that was so hardcore, I couldn't even talk to people. I couldn't be around human beings at all, not even one. So that really pushed me into that experience. All challenges, opportunities to build strength. Your biggest challenges, smile real big. You may not think it it will help you to think it. Listen, at the end of it, even your worst nightmares, if you take it head on and you overcome, not become. So many people become bumps in our roads. There's a few of us ninjas that just run right over all those bumps like it's nothing. We're on GTX, we're on the MR Boss 1800 right here, super Star Wars bike. You can't stop this, right? You can't stop this, man. This is like the A team and the B team, and it really is, isn't it? Now we're gonna start collecting it up too and be more serious than any other YouTube presence is. I'm actually gonna care about people who stay in touch here. I'm actually gonna give some of my deeper self to people here, and I'm not gonna hold anything back. I'm going to be a beacon of true intention, of high honesty, of high care, of high love. I'm just following the master, right? You know what I mean? And like I said in my prayer, I am not your teacher. I'm just a fellow journeyman who went on the vision quest. My number one recommend for an elongated vision quest. And I'm coming back and I'm just like, man, no. Look at these people. Look at what they're doing to all these people. It's really true. Like, you're not free until everyone's free. And then once again, I was telling you, this young person is diabolically brainwashed by her role model in a pyramid of brainwashing, because we see these people are programming sick Fs at the top with sick desires, control-freakism off the wazoo, right? And then it goes all the way down, and they have all these little fixtures that they've been able to sneak in everywhere that facilitate it. It is the Kia Karlberg narcissistic construct of Babylon. That is what we're living right now, and you simply step out to nature. We do retreats, guys. So you come down, there's links below, and I'll take you to this nature experience. We'll do this nutritional diversity diet. We'll become so mentally strong, it's ridiculous. In just 10 days, and you'll leave with that momentum. There's nothing to be said that you're not speaking in the language of action already. Remember that. Don't say it unless it's already happening. Oh, I'm gonna tell me when it's done. Don't talk to me until it's done. That is character, right? That is character. Diplomacy is much more harder than violence. To do the right thing is much more harder than to do the wrong thing. This is an issue of strength. When you are not getting the results that you want, go harder. It's a matter of intensity. You know what you're supposed to do. If you get out to nature, you get clean water, you get the right diet, okay? You know what to do then. You know. But it's a matter of if you act or if you don't. And in that action, if you churn, if you purify, if you pressure to get the truth. Diamonds are made under pressure. Deep in the coal vein, even better. Let's go. Let's build this. All right, stay, like, subscribe, share. We're going to actually build a really strong Spartan force right under their nose, how they keep doing to us. For real, for real. If you're for real. I am. Have a great day. Have a great day, everybody.